Welcome to the Coffee with Cheryl podcast, the podcast for women over 50 who want to live their best life right now. Imagine having the courage to reinvent your life financially, professionally, personally, and spiritually. Join Cheryl and guests as they share practical tips and resources to inspire you to achieve the lifestyle of your dreams. So grab your favorite mug. It's time for Coffee with Cheryl.
Welcome to the Coffee with Cheryl podcast, a podcast for women over 50 who want to live their best life right now. I am your host, Cheryl Garrison. I am a coach, an author, a publisher. I am passionate about everything that has to do with women over 50. And today I am so excited to have with me as my guest, Tiffany Williams, and you'll hear more about her. She's a remarkable young lady who has done some amazing things within our homeless community, but she's also my niece. And so that makes me even more proud to have her on the show today. After we introduce our quote, I will let you get to meet Tiffany, and we will talk about how you can live your best life being a blessing to others. So let's start with our quote. I have two today. The first one is, I like reading them. You were not blessed for yourself. You were blessed to be a blessing to others. I love that. Mm-hmm. And the second one is, don't just count your blessings. Be the blessings others count on. And so think about those quotes as we meet my beautiful niece, Tiffany Williams. She is the founder of Heart for Jesus Homeless Ministry. She lives in Oklahoma City, where she does her ministry. She works for the housing, in the housing sector for Oklahoma State. And she is a bona fide Christian who loves the Lord and has allowed him to lead her to her journey. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I am too. We've been trying to do this for a little bit.
Yes.
And, I had the honor of publishing Tiffany's devotional, Secret Sufferings, and she'll tell you about that a little later. But I want you to introduce yourself to the audience, Tiffany.
Okay. Well, I am Tiffany Williams, and besides being the niece of my beautiful Aunt Cheryl, I am also a mother. I am a wife. And as you stated, I work in the housing sector, mainly for the Section 8 program. So I have the opportunity to help a lot of people that are in need or disparaged. And then my heart, of course, is with the call that the Lord had on my life for Heart for Jesus Homeless Ministry. It has pretty much just transformed my life in terms of what the Lord has me doing. So it's been a blessing.
It is a blessing to be able to do that. Now, tell us what you do specifically it's a nonprofit, of course. And
yes,
what do you do specifically? I know you go out on the streets, but tell us more about what Heart for Jesus does.
Yes. So originally Heart for Jesus, it is a homeless ministry it's a mobile ministry for the unsheltered. I typically will go out and pass out snack bags, but it goes even further than that. That's how it originally started. Giving out supplies, resources. I actually participate in a few outreaches throughout the year, but then there's one outreach that I go out every Tuesday and serve with another ministry that actually provides food. And I'll provide snack bags, clothing. I keep the majority of the items in my vehicle. So when they're in need of socks, when they're in need of toiletry items, tents, shoes, socks, you name it. I have all of that I keep in my vehicle. But the Lord has allowed me to go even further than that. Heart for Jesus has been able to provide a couple of nights hotel stay.
Oh,
I had a family of 5. They were living in a hotel with 3 children, and I was able to provide, food and bus passes for them. And then once they became sheltered, I was actually able to assist them with utility assistance.
oh, good.
Um, the one that I really, I think, kind of cherish the most is there is a couple that I communicate with quite often. They are still unsheltered. The wife she's in online school for psychology, and she lives in the woods.
Oh my God.
And so one of the things that I was so thankful to God was I was able to play a part in providing a referral because she had difficulty, maintaining her status in school.
Mhm.
And when it came time for her to re-enroll, they wanted to know, well, what's happened. So I was able to provide a referral on her behalf,
Mhm.
verifying that she was unsheltered. And for that, it led to, being able to provide her with a laptop and with, the ability to have Wi-Fi in the woods. And so she's, we've been discussing housing options. It's not for lack of trying as far as them getting a house, but there are so many barriers there when you are in that environment. And they previously had a place, but they just fell on hard times.
Yeah.
And so they've been struggling ever since to get, get back in that place that they originally called home.
Right. I know many of us who are just, when we ride around town and we see homeless people on the side of the street, I know people I communicate with have the thought that, well, they're here because they didn't want to, participate in the American, get a job, do this. They were on drugs, they were on this, and we have these misnomers about who the people are. Can you give us like just a synopsis of who these people are and why it's important that if we are able to lend a hand, like we do, my husband and I do, it's called the Rescue Mission, which helps to house homeless, and we give to that ministry and a couple others. But can you tell us about that population and how, especially as women over 50, who we know what nurturing means, we know how to care for people. Tell us about that group of people.
Yeah. So one of the things that I learned, because I too had no idea, I didn't even pay attention to unsheltered. Now, my friends tell me, oh my goodness, she has a radar, and because I can just see them, I just notice them. And what I have learned about them is that they are a group of people that in most cases are just looking for love. They've fallen on hard times. Some of them, yes, they have addictions, that they battle with. There's a lot of demons that they have to contend with. But the biggest thing is prayer. It does not take anything to let them know. I literally met with a gentleman, and I like to be very respectful of them. I saw him, he had his little cart, and, I went up to him and I told him what my name was, and I asked him what his name was. And I just told him, I said, well, listen, I don't have anything with me today, but I saw you and I wanted to just stop and tell you that Jesus loves you and I love you. And, no matter what it is that you're going through in life, he truly does care for you. And as he, proceeded to kind of, because there's so many different types of people out there,
Right.
The ones that have the mental illness, and some of them, they don't necessarily, they can communicate just fine, but he wasn't able to really communicate with me based on what I stated, but I just prayed with him. And then I told him it was so nice to meet him. And he told me, nice to meet you too. And so they are, as far as I'm concerned, just like any other sheltered human being. The only difference and I tell them this all the time, the differences between what you face and what sheltered people face are the walls. Because I tell them, you have drug addicted people that live behind four,
Right.
you know, I mean, people that are facing suicidal ideation, they live behind walls, you
Right.
know. I said, it's just that you all are just exposed to the outside,
Right.
but they are just like anybody else. They just want to be loved.
Yeah. That I've never really heard that described in that the sense that the only difference is we have walls. Because there's so much happens within walls that
Right.
keep secret and hidden from people, and then we walk out as if everything is good. And that, well, I really like the way you describe that. Tell me about the first time that you knew that this was going to be something different for you, something special in terms of a ministry. I know we talk about living our purpose, and most of us are still trying to search for it. How did you know that this was your purpose? When you know, you know, you know.
Yes. And so even though I work in the housing sector, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was a call from God, because I had no intentions of forming a ministry. I mean, my plan was whatever my plan was after I turned 50. You know, I was just live whatever that life looked like. And, you know, as we started the 2023, in approximately maybe June, from June to October is when things started to really transition. I wasn't working the hours I was working. And then when it came to my vacation, it was just, I couldn't even log in. And so I said, well, what in the world am I going to do with myself? And that is when the Lord told me, he said, it's time for a change. He said, I have instructions for you. You have to change your life. He said, it's time for you to actually position yourself to be there for somebody else in the way that I need for you to. He told me, he said, I know that you have provided a service to me that you think has been good. But what I want you to do is build my kingdom. And you haven't been doing that. And so, you know, that was a very interesting and pretty much laid it out on the line for me for 2 weeks of my vacation, where, you know, it was just, you know, him telling me what it was that he wanted me to do and how he wanted me to form the ministry. Now, of course, you know, I started out the way I thought that I should start out. I mean, originally when I went out, I had 5 people with me. And by the time all was said and done, it was just me and the Lord. You know, but I had a major issue with doing things by myself. And that, you know, the Lord told me, he said, your lack of trust in me has to change. Because I need for you to communicate with people that you would have never thought that you would have communicated with. But I need for you to do it in love. And I also need you to know that you can have full trust in the fact that I'm going to protect you and that nothing will ever happen to you as long as you follow what I tell you to follow. So I knew, because that wasn't my dream. I wasn't supposed to do that. You know, I didn't really know what my dream was. I had no purpose, to be honest with you. I didn't know what my purpose was, but that definitely kickstarted what he had for me to do.
What he had, and that's how God works. He just sort of finds us where we are, and then he positions us in places we never thought we'd be. This business, 50-something lifestyle, that was never on the radar for me. You know, I had all other kind of businesses, and it had nothing to do with really dealing with, you know, I was a consultant. You know, I like being at my desk and away from people. And when he puts you in that position and he lets you know, and then you all of a sudden it becomes real clear what you are supposed to do. Now I know, of course, I've known you all of your life. Well, most of your life. You were young, really young when your uncle and I got married. And I do know that your faith and being within the church was just ingrained in you, just like it is in the rest of the family. When did you know that that it was something different than just that we got to go to church, we got to do this, that rote kind of worship? Was it when you founded this, or was there something before that sort of led you to this heart for Jesus?
It actually happened right around the time that Heart for Jesus started, but it was still very surface for me. The Lord, what I have learned is that the acceleration of time, since God is not bound by time, is so real, because so much has changed in 2 years than probably the last 35 years of my life. And that's not just with what I'm doing with the ministry, but also he's taken me even further than that as far as ministering just to people in general. Speaking with the clients on the phone and offering them encouragement, because, that was one of the things that he had told me in my testimony, was that people will reach out to you and they need to hear from you, and you never say a word. You refuse, in essence, or for whatever reason, you don't think that you're supposed to offer them the type of encouragement that lets them know that you're going to be okay. I never would have done that. I was so fearful about retribution from what may happen, the whole separation of state and church and this, that. So I literally had no trust in what the Lord could actually do for me. And he has completely changed all of that for me. Completely changed all of that. So it definitely, to me, happened after Heart for Jesus started. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, many of the ladies who listen in, they have their nonprofits, or they're thinking of starting a nonprofit. And I know there's so many challenges when you start any kind of business. What was your biggest challenge once you realized that this is going to go way beyond just giving out a snack box or a snack pack, in terms of getting a nonprofit going and having the funds to keep it going?
My biggest challenge was fear. Oh, honestly, it was. I was so afraid. I had started out with $300, and the Lord told me that I want you to use this, and this is what we're going to start this with. He put everything in place for me. Once it was just the two of us, and I got everyone else that I was trying to drag out there with me because of the fear that I had in me. He set up everything. He put the right people in place for me. I literally, from the time that he gave me the name and told me what to do in November of 2023, I had received my status through the IRS by March of 2024. And I'd set up the bank the guy at the credit union, he told me, he said, as I sat there waiting to find out if they were going to allow me to open the business account. And he said, well, it's, it was probably about 3:30 in the afternoon. And he said, well, it's kind of late, but we'll see what happens. He said, usually the people that make the decisions may be gone. And he got the email and he said, oh my, he said, well, you've been approved. He said, this has never happened before. And I said, oh, that's the grace and mercy of God. I said, this is what the Lord wants. And so, literally, the guy was just in complete shock at the fact that they had approved it that quickly. So I would have to say that had I not operated through the fear and just allowed the Lord to work with me, because he told me, he said, I understand you're afraid, but I need you to follow me. I need you to trust me anyway through your fear. If I had not done that, I don't think I would have, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Where you are today. And how do you get your funding? Through donations, through grants, or how do you get money to help you? Because we know that it takes money to help anyone. So
Yes. So yes, through donations, I have people that will donate directly through monetary, through the ministry, but also, I have people that will donate food to me, like snack foods. I receive clothing, socks. People just will come up to me, and I have a person that's donating now, and she'll just have things shipped to the
uh-huh.
house that I may need in order to operate and function with the ministry. But the Lord, He puts people in place, and it's almost like, I need you to donate to Heart for Jesus today. And they'll just come up and tell me, hey, what's your Cash App? I want to donate to your ministry. And
Uh-huh.
literally he's just provided, and I use the funds that he provides, blesses me with, because I
Right,
have to sow seed back into what he has provided for me.
right, right.
So it's amazing. I've never, let me just say this, I've never not had what I needed.
What you needed. Now, anyone who's listening and wants to help, can they? We can put your email in the or do you have a
Yeah,
website, or where
I
can
have
people connect with you?
I have a Facebook. It's a
Okay.
Heart for Jesus.
Oh,
It's
go on
just Heart,
Facebook.
and it's the
Okay.
number 4. So Heart
Right.
for Jesus is how they're able to. And I actually have my Cash App information on the Facebook page. So
Okay. Okay.
or
And we'll put that in the comments as well.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So for any of you ladies who have it in your heart and who are in wanting to bless others, then please contact Tiffany through Heart for Heart, the number 4, Jesus, on
Yes.
Facebook. And then if you have problems with that, just connect with me and I can connect you with her to help. I know when we were just preparing for this, you had mentioned that your goal or your hope is to be able to have your own facility to shelter people. Tell us a little bit about that dream and
Mhm.
what like are your expected date, or how other people could help you reach that goal quicker than you've been able to.
So the vision that the Lord gave me is pretty massive, and it is more or less for a homestead.
Oh, okay.
And basically, what that would look like is everything is right there
Mm-hmm.
at their disposal. So, and it's a step by step process where we start out with, maybe allowing them to live in a tent, and then they'll do a step up inside of maybe inside of in the building where they have their own room. And from there, they can do a step up to a tiny home. And from there, they would then actually be able to graduate into their own place. But the services would be right there on the
Mm-hmm.
home. They would, wraparound services for alcohol and drug addiction, counseling services, the old school that we don't see anymore, home economics, teaching them
Uh-huh.
how to, because that's huge. I mean, I spend a lot of time trying to encourage them to clean up behind themselves.
Uh-huh.
Because when they're out there, they don't see the point of that. But we try to explain to them what you're doing now is exactly what you'll do if you become sheltered. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to change your mindset, and allowing them, once they did graduate, to come back and to give to someone else and
Right.
to help them to go through that process. Because who better to tell someone about being unsheltered than someone that's been through it themselves?
Right.
So right now, I know that the Lord He has something in store. I just don't, he hasn't given me the appointed time yet.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that he's still working with me on is me.
Uh-huh.
And so as we continue to kind of, go through that process, I'm still in the mobile, stages of what
Right.
he has, but I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know it is.
And all you have to do is to, like you said, just let him know I'm ready
Yes.
and I'm open to doing it. Um,
Yes.
you wrote, I am so honored to have helped you publish your Secret Suffering devotional, that was born out of your own suffering that led you to do what you do, and also led you to understand better the people who you serve. Um, tell us about your book and
Yeah.
what it has done for people and what you see it doing in the future.
Well, definitely, it was for sure birthed from my own suffering, and that was a part of the journey that I had to go on to be able to start the ministry. Was I had to be honest about the things that I had experienced, and also to allow the Lord to bring to the forefront things that I had suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started that, I thought, oh, well, my unsheltered, they're going through things. This is going to be great, and I can, have Bible study in the woods, and I'll just make paper copies and staple them, and I just had it all in my head, and I know exactly what God was doing, and that's when I made that faithful phone call. The Lord said, "Call your Aunt Cheryl and ask her if you need to do." Because I'm thinking maybe I need a copyright. I was like, I don't think they'll take it and do anything with it, but let me ask her. And that's how all of that got started. I never in a million years would have imagined that is what the Lord's plan was. And I think he knew his daughter well, and he knew to take me down the road he took me down,
Uh-huh.
because I would have been just like Jonah, and I'd have tried to find the first whale to jump in, and it never would have happened. But I'm thankful. I am so thankful. I've been able to share the book, with people that, not just my unsheltered friends, but also just some friends in general, just some people that, God has allowed me to gift the book, and also to put it out there for people, that wanted to purchase the book. It was just about, like you said, the reinvention is to truly be there for
Mm-hmm.
someone,
Right.
to extend myself to someone else that might be in need, as opposed to, kind of handling it the way that I thought it should be handled. So it's been a blessing.
And it was a blessing to be able to work on that book with you, because every book that I work on, I get to learn as well, and I get to be blessed and be touched by the subject matter. And um, those of you who want to get the book, it is available on Amazon, called
Yeah.
Secret Suffering by Tiffany Williams. And it has scriptures in it. They're encouraging you to live past your fear, to listen to what God has to say. And then there's scriptural references for us in terms of Bible studies. It's a day. How many days? I can't recall right now.
7. I believe
7
it was
days
7. Mm-hmm.
of activities for you to do to get you closer to finding your purpose and knowing what God has truly in store for your life. And I encourage you to get the book, because you may be like Tiffany was, at that crossroad of, there's something you need to do, and God is trying to speak to you, and maybe you just need to be quiet and listen to what He has for you. Because when He does open that door, it's amazing where He leads you. And again, if you're not afraid, if you have the courage, and Tiffany had the courage to listen and to follow. I know that you said some interesting things about self-care, that we get caught up in the things that we think about, massages and getting our pedicures and all that. And you liken self-care to being more about finding that connection with Jesus and finding that care that only He can provide. Do you want to speak to any of that?
Yeah, definitely. I have always used what I thought was self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has what works for them. And I totally respect that. But I had to have something that was going to be substantial and it was going to be life changing.
Mm-hmm.
What I've noticed in allowing the Lord to lead and guide me, that not only has it put me in a position of realizing that I actually am someone, because I've lived like a chameleon for years. I morphed into whomever I needed to be in that moment based on who I was around. You
Right.
know, now, as I allow God to, minister and speak into me, speak life into me, that is the most rewarding thing ever. I can wake up in the morning and instantly think about the Lord. And the biggest thing is developing a relationship with Him. I mean, the self-care just does not get any better than that. To know that you can speak to Abba and He responds. He's there for you. You can feel His presence. And prior to finally listening to Him and having a spiritual ear to hear from Him, I may have, I'm sure I cared for myself in some form or fashion, but it was nothing like what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's something sometimes it's indescribable.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing, what He does for me now and what I've allowed, from not, allowing fear and rebellion and pride to, keep Him from being there for me the way that He's always wanted to be.
Um, as we get to a close, I can you just give the ladies here who are at that transition in their life right now? They know there's something they need to be doing, and they do have that fear, um, and they're wondering if this is the right thing to do. Can you just sort of describe now that you are doing what you believe God has asked you to do and has opened those doors? Can you describe what that feels like and how just encourage them to follow that dream, to follow that thought so that they don't miss out on living, like their best life, which is what we're all about on this podcast, to find your way to that best life, not just superficial, but that best life where you're doing what you're purposed to do and what God has called you to do. Can you just describe for you what that feels like now compared to how you felt, in 5 years ago? So
Right. Well, it's so ironic that, I say it's ironic, but it was actually God ordained. But the fact that He waited until I was 53 years old.
uh-huh.
So, and again, when I turned 50, I had no clue. I mean, I just continued to live life in the manner that I was living it in. And when the Lord told me that I need for you to dedicate your life to me,
Mm-hmm.
I can provide for you. I can do anything that needs to be done for you if you live for me. I need for you to build my kingdom. He said, there are so many people out there that are in need of knowing who I am. And I need for you to be that vessel that can provide what it is that the people need, because that's what it's all about. It's providing for others. It wasn't just about what I could get for myself, but it was about allowing the Lord to mold me and to transform me into the woman that He needed me to be. Now, ironically, I was 25 when the Lord first wanted, when He first came and told me that He wanted me to change my life. And I rebelled, and it took about 26 plus years. I was in Egypt for 26 plus years before I finally, he finally came back and said, okay, daughter, it's time. The reward is so much greater than what the world can give, because you not only are allowing your creator to mold you into who it is that you're supposed to be, but you're also able to testify to other people about how he provided that for you. And can you imagine if everyone did the same thing?
Mm.
There would be so many souls won for Christ,
Yeah.
because we all would recognize the fact that we have to look at our past and go deep to figure out how we got into the situations that we got into, allow ourselves to forgive ourselves, and then also repent of the things that we did against the Lord, but then let him heal and deliver you from it. It's just unbelievable. It really is. I think that any woman that truly wants to know what it's like to be free, to be truly set free, and not have that surface level freedom, you have to devote and give your all to the Lord, because he can sustain you. He can provide it.
Right.
I'm a living testimony of that.
and so have I. Just this year has been a crazy year.
Yes.
And the way he has blessed, and all the you who follow the podcast, my blessing and my story. And it's so true that when you do, it's an amazing life to live. And I want to remind us of the quote: "Don't just count your blessings, be the blessing others count on." If we all live like that as well. Tiffany, this has just been so amazing to hear your story and hear how you're blessing people and how you have allowed the Lord to lead you. Again, we can help others by donating to Heart for Jesus and going to Facebook and looking up her Facebook page. Cash App her. If you have another means, contact me, and I'll give you her contact information so you can send her a check or whatever you can do to help her to continue to help those who are less fortunate. And let's pray for her. This is work that most of us won't do. I mean, I know for me, I'll give the money, but it takes a different kind of heart to go out and actually care for people who have no one else to care for them. So as your aunt, I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
I was so excited the day you called me and asked me to help you with your book, because it helped me to understand more about what you were doing. And so, any parting words to our audience before we close the podcast?
Well, it's definitely not just words. I mean, God's magnificent. He is so worthy. And it takes time to get to a place where you can trust, where you can understand the importance of having a relationship with the Lord. And I know that all too well, because again, I've ran for a number of years. But if you just allow him, faith of a mustard seed. I mean, we know how small a mustard seed is. If you put full trust in him, and just even through your fear, he wants you. I mean, he's strong when we're weak. So, even if you just allow him just that nugget he'll take control. He'll take full control, and he will, help you to be able to be the person that he wants you to be the woman that he wants you to be, and you don't have to allow yourself to succumb to the lies of the world, because the world, unfortunately, doesn't have, our best interests at heart, I'm afraid. So
that's so true. That's so true. Well, thank you again, Tiffany, for joining the podcast. This has been just so heartwarming to hear your story and how you let God use you. And those ladies, as you're listening, remember that we can live our best life by blessing other people and for doing for others. And we don't have to wait until, times are right, everything is in place. We can do that where we are. And it's so refreshing to meet someone who is doing it. And so for those of you out there who are also on a similar journey, connect with me, share your story, and we can put those stories out there, and we can just continue to make this a better world. So thank you, Tiffany, and
Thank you for
enjoy
having
the rest of your great Monday. This has been a great, great time speaking with you.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'll see you soon when the next time we come to Oklahoma.
Yes, well, I thank you so much. I appreciate you. You have no idea. This is just helping even more to bring me out of those little boxes that I've placed myself in, which the Lord said you got to come out of that. So I'm grateful for you.
Well, thank you. And we enjoyed having you share your story today. Those of you who are out there, go out and live your best life, not tomorrow, not 3 years from now, but do it today. And thank you for joining Coffee with Cheryl.